It started on a Thursday. Not that the day mattered, but I remember because I was supposed to have dinner with a friend. Canceled due to the storm. It had been raining all day, that persistent kind of rain that makes everything feel slower, heavier. My apartment sits on the ground floor of a quiet complex. Older building, 3 stories, brick exterior, and windows that still have those old twist lock handles. No central heating, just radiators that gurgle at night. That evening, I curled up on the couch with a blanket and a cup of tea, watching the rain splatter against the windows. The street light outside flickered every now and then, casting a soft yellow glow into the living room. I was half asleep during some true crime documentary when I heard it. Knock, knock, knock. 3 knocks. Precise. Not rushed. Coming from the back door, the one in the kitchen that leads out to a small fenced courtyard. Weird thing is, hardly anyone ever uses that entrance, not even delivery drivers. I paused the show and sat up. My first thought was, maybe a neighbor got locked out or needed help. I walked to the kitchen slowly, the rain now louder without the TV masking it. I turned on the porch light. Nothing. No one at the door. The rain fell in sheets, running down the glass. I waited, heart thudding, staring out. The motion sensor light in the courtyard didn't flicker. No shadows, no movement. Maybe I imagined it. I locked the door, just in case, and went back to the couch, telling myself it was probably something outside hitting the door, a branch or wind knocking something loose, but there are no trees in the courtyard. About 20 minutes later, just as I started drifting off again, knock, knock, knock. Same sound, same rhythm. This time I stood up faster. I tiptoed into the kitchen. Again, nothing outside. This time I didn't even bother turning on the porch light. I pressed my ear against the door. Silence, except for the rain. I didn't sleep well that night. The next day I chalked it up to my imagination. Lack of sleep, the storm, the creepy documentary. I worked from home, the rain continuing in waves, and tried to keep busy. But something about the atmosphere in my apartment felt off, like the silence had weight. That night I went to bed early, leaving a lamp on in the hallway. At around 2 a.m. I woke up suddenly. No sound, no movement, just that sharp, unshakable sense that something had pulled me from sleep. Then I heard it. Not knocking this time. A sound from the kitchen. A soft scrape. Like a chair moving slowly across the floor. I froze. The bedroom door was slightly ajar, and from where I lay, I could see the dim light from the hallway and a faint shadow flickering. I told myself it was probably nothing. Maybe the radiator again or something shifting in the fridge, but that sound, that dragging scrape came again. I got up, grabbed my phone, and crept to the kitchen. Every step felt like it took forever. The kitchen was empty, silent, but the chair, the one I keep near the back door, had been moved, just a little, angled differently. And the back door, still locked, but the condensation on the glass was smudged, like someone had touched it. I stared at that mark for a long time. Eventually I wiped it away and returned to bed, phone clutched in my hand, heart racing. Saturday came, still raining. I told a friend about the knocking. He joked it was just the rain playing tricks, said I was going stir crazy from being cooped up. I wanted to believe him. That night, I left the kitchen light on. I don't know why, maybe just to feel a little less alone. It was around midnight when the knocking came again. Knock, knock, knock. But this time, it was followed by something else. A whisper, so faint I almost thought I imagined it. Then again, knock, knock, knock. And just under the sound of rain, a voice, low, croaking, almost like a hum. I couldn't make out the words, but it was real. I stood frozen in the hallway, not daring to move. I grabbed my phone and called the front desk of the complex. They've got a security guard overnight.
He said he'd check the courtyard camera feed. 10 minutes later, he called back. "There's no one out there," he said. "Been watching the feed since you called. No movement at all." I asked if the cameras covered the door directly. He paused. "Well, not exactly. There's a blind spot, right where your back door is. Sorry about that." "Of course." Sunday night, the rain still hadn't stopped. It was colder now. My nerves were shot. I hadn't left the apartment in days. Around 1 a.m., I sat in bed, light on, blanket pulled up, waiting. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe that if I stayed alert, nothing would happen. But then I heard it again. Not a knock this time, not a whisper. The door handle, jiggling. A slow turn, a deliberate test. I jumped out of bed and ran to the kitchen. The handle stopped moving as I entered. I flicked on the porch light, heart hammering. Still nothing. I called the police. They came quickly, did a full sweep, checked the courtyard. No signs of forced entry, no footprints, but that was useless with the rain. They left telling me to keep everything locked and stay safe. The usual. I asked about the camera blind spot. They just shrugged. I didn't sleep. Monday morning, I had reached my limit. I called out of work and spent the day researching apartment security cameras online. I ordered one with motion detection and two-way audio, overnight delivery. That night, the rain finally stopped. But the silence was worse. Too quiet. Around 3 a.m., I got an alert on my phone from the new camera. It had arrived that afternoon, and I installed it facing the back door. The notification simply said, "Motion detected 3:04 a.m. I opened the app, pulse racing. There, in the faint glow of the courtyard light, stood a figure. Not close to the door, no, pressed against it. Forehead resting on the glass, barely visible except for the outline of a hand, fingers splayed. And behind the glass, where the face should be, nothing but darkness. No features, no eyes, just a black void. It stood there for a full 45 seconds. And then it knocked. 3 slow knocks. And walked out of frame. I moved out that week, told the landlord I was relocating for work. I didn't want to explain the footage, didn't want to stay long enough to hear the knocks again. But sometimes, when it rains, I swear I hear it. Knock, knock, knock. And sometimes I wonder, what if I had opened the door?